COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
It is 10 days into the month of April, the year 2021. It's exactly 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for creating time to catch the latest on KBC Channel 1 weekend. A lot has been happening this particular weekend, from the war against COVID-19, an interesting situation in Migori County, by the way, where an isolation and treatment center has not recorded any admissions amidst in a time when the country is reporting to be overwhelmed across the counties. We will be telling you more about this particular story and more that is emanating from the investigations on the murder of a KBC staffer, Betty Baraza, right here on Channel 1 Weekend. A very good evening. Welcome on board. My name is Serfine Achieng'Ouma. Let's first get the highlights. The paradox of the idle 300-bed Migori Isolation Center, as Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate adamantly remains above 10%. Who are the killers? Lawyers raise a red flag over surging unresolved murder cases. And it is 41 rounds gun salute in England every minute for 40 minutes as the nation mourns the fallen Duke of Edinburgh. Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter, and remember, you're also part of this broadcast. Do engage us on social media at KBC Channel 1 and at Serfine_Achieng on Twitter, Serfine Achieng on Facebook. So let's begin straight away. 21 more deaths resulting from COVID-19 complications have been reported in the country in the last 24 hours on Saturday. The Ministry of Health says 5 of the deaths occurred in the last 1 month, while 16 being latest deaths. The new statistics bring to 2,330 the total number of fatalities in the country. The country also recorded 1,030 new infections from 8,316 samples tested. This translates to a 12.4% positivity rate. The country's total caseload jumps to 145,184 confirmed cases. 422 patients have in the meanwhile made a full recovery, while another 1,616 still admitted in various hospitals. Out of the patients in hospital, 247 are in the intensive care unit. Now, as the country battles with the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has left many hospitals overwhelmed with patients, the COVID-19 Isolation and Treatment Center in Nyatike sub-county of Migori County is yet to admit any patients. The Chief Officer for Health, Pauline Amolo, attributes this to the uptake of home-based care for COVID-19 patients. Now, let's have a look at the level of preparedness of Migori County in battling COVID-19. The country's death toll resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic has surpassed the 2,300 mark, with over 140,000 positive cases reported so far, a clear indication that the blades of the COVID-19 pandemic keeps getting sharper. A raft of measures have been put in place by the government to contain the spread of this deadly virus, which has proven to be the biggest test on the country's healthcare system. With a surge in the positive cases, hospitals across the counties are increasingly becoming overwhelmed, with some unable to admit patients in need of critical care due to the shortage of ICU beds and oxygen ventilators. Ironically, though, in Migori County, the silence at one of the COVID-19 treatment centers in Nyatike sub-county is deafening. The 300-bed capacity facility, situated several kilometers off Migori town, is yet to admit any patients. According to the county's Chief Officer for Health, Pauline Amolo, absence of patients at the facility has been influenced by the uptake of home-based care for COVID-19 patients.
18 patients isolated at the GK prison, but we are yet to receive patients in Nyatike. And I think this is because right now we are focusing on home-based isolation and care for any person who tests positive to COVID.
She says that 13 patients are, however, admitted at the county's other treatment center at Migori GK prison.
We are only admitting those patients who require critical or additional care within the facilities. And for that, Nyatike is well equipped. And we also have set aside the critical care unit here at MCRH in the event that we receive such patients.
Recently, the county governor, Okoth Obado, gave the assurance that the county has stepped up efforts to contain the spread of the deadly virus.
We are prepared. In terms of the number of isolation beds that were directed earlier by the president, we managed to obtain that level of preparedness. Na hakuna kitu imeharibika mpaka saizi.
An interesting paradox indeed. Now, away from matters COVID-19, the Law Society of Kenya now demands that the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations expedite the investigations into the murder cases recently reported in the country. In a statement to media houses, LSK is concerned by the increased cases of murders, among them being the brutal shooting of a KBC employee, Betty Baraza.
While condemning the brutal murder of KBC employee Betty Baraza, the Law Society of Kenya questioned the efficiency and efficacy of security measures put in place by the government. Betty's murder happened barely 2 weeks after the heinous killing of National Land Commission Communications Deputy Director Jennifer Wambua. Investigations are still pending with no report of arrest of any suspect to date. LSK interprets these rising insecurity cases as failure by duty bearers in upholding their mandate and constitutional duty to protect the lives and property of Kenyan people. The society demands the Inspector General of Police and Director of Criminal Investigations expedite the investigations. The society additionally calls for immediate action by the government to ensure that security measures are enhanced, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic period when crime is likely to escalate. Through the statement signed by CEO Mercy Wambua, LSK is urging the government to return the tax reliefs put in place in the year 2020 to cushion citizens, businesses and investments from the effects of ongoing lockdown as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
And may your souls continue to rest in peace, Jennifer and Betty, as we hope that the perpetrators of the heartless act will be brought to book. Now, moving on, Kenya Forest Service Chief Conservator of Forests, Julius Kamau, has called on members of the public to take the advantage of the ongoing rains to plant trees. Kamau made the remarks during a tree planting exercise at the GSU Reke Camp in Ruiru, where 10,000 indigenous trees were planted by both KFS and JSU. The exercise is part of an ongoing greening program within the disciplined services to contribute to the attainment of the 10% forest cover in Kenya.
The tree planting activity that saw more than 10,000 indigenous seedlings planted at the GSU Reke camp in Roiro was presided over by the Chief Conservator of Forests, Julius Kamau, and the GSU Commandant, Douglas Kanje. During the exercise, Kamau appreciated the leadership within different sectors of government and private stakeholders for supporting KFS efforts through tree growing.
Appreciate. We are currently experiencing the wrong rains, different rains in different regions of the country, and therefore it's important we take advantage and leadership as the government, Kenya Forest Service, and indeed all our partners and the citizens of this country to start growing trees. For all of us, we know the importance of trees. They speak to us individually in form of livelihoods, in terms of conservation, creating health and clean environment for all of us.
He noted that with the current COVID-19 pandemic, environment cleanliness is essential, with the foundation of it lying on the protection of forest resources, which supports livelihood.
The pandemic of COVID-19, and we know at this time we need really a clean and healthy environment. And the foundation of that clean and healthy environment is actually protecting and also growing and planting trees across the landscapes, both in the public forests, also in the community forests that are under the county government, but also on the farmlands, and also in the land that may be available in the ministries, agencies, and departments of government.
On his part, the GSU Commandant Douglas Kanje encouraged all National Police Service officers to personally embrace tree planting as a collective responsibility. The same exercise was replicated in Meru with the planting of 7,000 trees planted in the Lower Imenti Forest, with the KFC chairman urging residents to join this effort to ensure the country realizes its goal to realize a 10% forest cover.
Work with the community like you see today. These are not casuals. These members are members of our CFA. The area has been balloted, and so we're beginning the tree planting campaign for Kenya Forest Service and also Mount Kenya Trust, who are supporting us in planting trees. At this time, throughout the country, Kenya Forest Service has about 46 million seedlings towards a 10% tree cover, mainly indigenous seedlings.
The newly launched tree planting exercise is aimed at realizing the global forest cover of 10% as per the World Environmental Organization. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 Lunchtime News.
Now back to the COVID-19 situation. Health experts now say those with diabetes and non-communicable diseases like hypertension are highly susceptible to COVID-19. Doctors say those with such conditions are more likely to contract COVID-19 since the immune system is low, and are advised to take more caution and adhere to the COVID-19 protective measures.
Dr. Rosalind Ngoge, a diabetologist, says access to diabetes medication in most hospitals has become a struggle, and urges people to take precaution by keeping their blood sugars regulated to avoid more cases of diabetes in the country.
We have adequate amount of insulin, the right type of insulin. I can honestly say we do not. Then when we come to the different types of drugs, the antivirals, what I have access to in a private, I do not in this public.
Following the recent scarcity of beds in hospitals due to increased COVID-19 cases, Rosalind urges those who are diabetic to be extra cautious.
Now, do we have the bed capacity to be able to handle if all diabetics were to be admitted? We do not. The likelihood of you requiring oxygen is very high, and we do not have adequate amount of oxygen.
Peter Ngatia, a clinical officer, advises on healthy living for all people as a way to prevent diabetes contraction. Ngatia also urges diabetics to move to more advanced and affordable treatment in order to regulate the severity of the illness.
But one of the key factors would the people manage your sugars, keep your sugars to optimal, bring blood pressures down, weight down, and also we bring the cholesterol down.
Newton Ngoge, a diabetic and counselor at the Kenya Defeat Diabetes, says living with the disease is challenging, more so as to these times of the coronavirus pandemic.
Especially during the COVID season, we have faced challenges, especially people living with diabetes, whereby in terms of a supply of our medication, there has been an erratic supply, whereby it is in and out of stock. There has also been changes in the socioeconomic spectrum, whereby some of the members of KDD, also people like me also, have got a situation of losing maybe their source of livelihood. So in that situation, it has impacted the management of the condition.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Wamboi Otiende.
Now that story takes us to our first break right here on KBC Channel 1 Weekend. Thank you for those who are interacting with us on social media. Please tell us where you're watching us from and also which story stands out for you tonight and why. We will be sampling some of your views when we come back from this break.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickly ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye Quickly ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Next on.
When I was in nursery, ndio nilikuja nikajua I'm different from the others. Najua hapo ndio unakuwa exposed kwa watoto wengine. Unajua kitambo we never used to go to baby class, ati ndio sasa uende PP1 and all that. As for me, I went straight to nursery school, then class 1.
Ulemavu wangu si ajali nilipata. Mimi nilishikwa na polio nikiwa wa miezi 6. Vile niliambiwa na wazazi wangu. 'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
As many as 50,000 runaway slaves, called maroons, an indigenous term, settled here on small rises of land known as Mesic Islands. Chris Lowy manages the Swamp's National Wildlife Refuge in Suffolk, Virginia.
When mercenaries came to your home and you were involved in several near-death experiences, take us back to that moment. How did you feel?
I wanted to die. I wanted to commit suicide. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was so bad that, I wanted to die, but I was afraid to kill myself. I was afraid to do it, so I would do things to other people, expecting them to kill me.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Paul P. Namiriel, you're watching us from West Pokot. Again, Buddy Karaoke, I've noted your concern. Thank you so much for keeping it KBC Channel 1. As Valde, as Love, watching from Kitengela. Stephen Juma, watching from Kitale. Please continue interacting with us. We appreciate your time tonight. Now, moving on, residents of Kisii and Kang'oki villages in Thika have called on the Kiambu County government to act swiftly and repair a sewerage drainage system in the area which has been destroyed by floods. The residents say the situation has been aggravated by the ongoing heavy rains, with raw sewage putting them at risk of contracting waterborne diseases. This is the unfortunate situation that residents of Kisii and Kang'oki villages in Thika, Kiambu County, have been forced to endure since the onset of heavy rains that have been pounding the area. Life is slowly becoming unbearable due to the flooded waters, coupled with the foul smell of untreated sewage seeping into their homes.
Hii sewage imejaa kwa maboma yetu, hata hatuna mahali ya kutoka nje ama kuingia ndani. Mifereji yetu imetoboka, imejaa sewage ndani. Hata sasa nikikupea maji ni black kwa maana imeingia sewage.
The residents say that the prevailing situation has left them with health complications and are worried that it is putting them further at risk of contracting waterborne diseases.
Mimi mwenyewe imenipea arthritis at my age na nimetibiwa na hata sponi
Juu sasa wakati ninapotibiwa, mvua ikinyesha, ndio hiyo sewage inafurika huko.
Wakati huu kuna mfuriko mwingi hivi, tunakutwa na unapata mbu ni wamezaana na wamekuwa wengi kwa njia isiyofaa. Tena unapata kuna vitu kama chula ambazo tembea huku, unapata chula zimeingia kwa nyumba, umbu ni wengi. Sasa tunashindwa tatizo hili tutakaa nalo hadi muda upi? Usaidizi utakuja hadi lini? Tutateta hadi lini?
They claim that their efforts to seek intervention from the Kiambu County government and the Thika Water and Sewerage Company have not borne any fruit.
Sisi tukiwa wakaaji wa hapa, mahali sewage iko ni hapa kama mita 200. Ili hadi na sisi wenyewe hata hatuna hiyo SEWAGE. Lakini wao wako na nguvu ya kufungulia sewage itoke kwa tunnel yao ikuje kwa manyumba zetu.
Walisema pesa imetoka, wanafanya. Hiyo kitu imeishi karibu sasa inaelekea 2 years. Na ukiangalia from there to here, hata sio 10 kilometers, hakuna kitu wamefanya.
The residents say they have run out of options and may soon be rendered homeless. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Serfine Achieng'Ouma. Now, away from that unfortunate situation, we cross over to the United Kingdom. Gun salutes in honor of the fallen Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, were held across the UK in Gibraltar and from the warships at sea. Prince Philip, who died on Friday morning, aged 99, gave a lifetime of royal service to the country and was the Queen's beloved companion for more than 70 years.
Saluting batteries began firing 41 rounds at 1 round every minute in tribute to the Duke of Edinburgh in cities including London, Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast, as well as from Royal Navy warships. Ships taking part included HMS Diamond, HMS Montrose and HMB Portsmouth, while the Royal Gibraltar Regiment joined the salute from the British Overseas Territory. A salute was also held outside Parliament House in Canberra, Australia earlier. In the meantime, there was a long queue of well-wishers wanting to leave flowers at Buckingham Palace. The line snaked along the front of the palace gates towards Green Park before turning to follow the edge of the Victoria Memorial. People were being allowed to approach the palace gates one by one to lay their flowers in an effort to reduce the size of the crowd amid coronavirus restrictions. The royal family has also opened a book of condolence online. Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's II husband, died Friday aged 99. For Channel 1 News, I'm Jacqueline Masharia.
And coming back to the country, Muslim faithfuls have been urged to be vigilant and abide by the COVID-19 Ministry of Health safety protocols as they mark and observe this year's Ramadan. Elsewhere, human rights defenders and well-wishers have been urged to intervene and rescue a 19-year-old girl from Mahoma village of Bunyala sub-county following allegations of mistreatment from her foster parents. Irene Mchuma Odilm brings us details of this and more stories from across the counties.
Speaking after unveiling a consignment of foodstuffs to be distributed to the Muslim community in Mombasa County, African Salihia Cargo and Clearing Farm Director Sahid Abdiraham urged residents to be extra vigilant and abide by the health protocols while observing the 30 days of fasting. Abdirahman said the foodstuff will go a long way in cushioning Muslim faithful in Mombasa during the fasting period.
Wakati kama huu tunamwambia kila mtu anaweza toa kitu kidogo ni muhimu. So kusaidiana na majirani na maskini tufuturu pamoja hii mwezi ya baraka ya Ramadhan. So tungemwambia pia wajitokezee wasaidie jirani yao.
In Busia County, human rights defenders have been urged to intervene and rescue a 19-year-old girl from Mahoma village of Bunyala sub-county following the allegations of mistreatment from her foster parents. Michelle Nerima, a standard 7 pupil from Mahoma Primary School, has allegedly undergone every kind of abuse from the parents that compelled her to escape from home.
Ukimwambia yeye hataki, ukimwambia anataka kitu shuleni, yeye hataki, anakuambia enda ambia hao walimu wako watajua mimi ni nani.
Hapo kwa huyo bwana ndio kungekuwa mahali penye tunaweza kaa, lakini sasa hatuna mahali penye tunaweza kaa. Hakuna amani, kila siku ni kupigwa.
Meanwhile, security operators carrying out operation in the volatile Baringo County have been urged to allow continuation of healthcare service provision to the affected area. Baringo Health Chief Officer David Cherop revealed that a number of health facilities have been closed as healthcare workers in the region have fled since the operation began.
I urge them to allow us, especially our healthcare workers, to get access to those rural facilities and probably be given security to be able to have a good working environment, to be able to handle our patients, especially mothers, delivering mothers.
Separately, Machakos County Chamber of Commerce wants the national government to reconsider its decision on the recently imposed lockdowns on 5 counties. The region's Chamber of Commerce chairman, Mutavi Kithu, says the situation has led to close of business and loss of jobs.
Makanisa na kufunga biashara hakujasaidia sana, kwa sababu hata ukienda sokoni unakuta watu wamejazana, hata watu wanatangamana kama kawaida.
Irene Mchuma, Odim, Channel 1.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya Isaiah 48 kwa simu yako bonyeza *811*817#.
Wakati mwingine unaweza kujipata umefinywa pande zote na unaona kama shida yako ni kubwa sana, kama hakuna nguvu ambazo zaweza kuitatua. Lakini ni vyema kujua kwamba kuna Mungu mwenye nguvu na ambaye hachoki kamwe. Isaia mlango wa 40 mstari wa 8 inasema, je, wewe hukujua? Hukusikia? Yeye Mungu wa milele, Bwana muumba maisha ya dunia, hazimii wala hachoki, akili zake hazichunguziki.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii bonyeza *811*817#. *811*817#.
This is the normal days you're going back to school. And my friend tells me, Pauline, before you go, let's just go help my brother so that I won't have a lot of work when you go to school. There were 4 men in that house.
One thing led to the other, and I was drugged, and then later on, I was sodomized.
After a victim has been raped, the first thing they should do is they should not take a shower and they should not change their clothes.
Victims of rape go through distressing experiences that sometimes leave them with feelings of self-hate and blame.
Join me and Boy Otiende this Sunday at 9 p.m.
All right, it's time for us now to explore the latest in the world of sports. By there's a special treat for you at 10 right here on KBC Channel 1. Do stay for these details and more. But first, before I tell you, let's begin straight away to look at what has been happening in the world of sports. Now, 11 Nairobi-based Football Kenya Federation clubs have received the COVID-19 vaccine as they await the resumption of the FKF leagues. The vaccination process was facilitated by FKF in conjunction with the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Health in a move to facilitate the safe resumption of football in the country.
FKF President Nick Mwendwa has appealed to the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Sports to allow safe resumption of football in the country so as to have a feeding pool for the national team who are set to take part in the 2022 Qatar World Cup qualifiers in June with their first match slated against Uganda.
Football sisi wenyewe tunapeana COVID-19 passport ya FKF. Ukishapata chanjo tunachukua ID yako ya chanjo, inakonfirmiwa na ministry. Ikisha konfirmiwa tunatengeza certificate. Kila mechi kabla ianze kuchezwa lazima hiyo certificate yako na passport yako ya COVID-19 itolewe.
The resumption of the leagues will help the players maintain match fitness and create a pool of players that can be called up to do duty for Kenya.
We want to ask the ministry to allow us to go back to play without fans, in isolation by 24th. And why? Because we have World Cup qualifiers hot on our heels. Kenya is playing Uganda on 5th, as we all know, of June. We have to have the boys ready, particularly because those countries are playing football, and we need to play to compete them. 70% of our players now in the national team are coming from the local league, and so we must get them ready.
The other 8 out of Nairobi-based Football Kenya Federation clubs are scheduled to receive their first batch of vaccines by Tuesday of next week. Daniel Mwendwa for Channel 1 Sports.
Now, Kenya will send a team of 31 athletes for the World Relay slated for Silesia, Poland, between 1st and 2nd of next month. Athletics Kenya selected the team yesterday following mini trials held at the Kasarani Stadium that were necessitated by the cancellation of all sports activities in the country. The athletes will use the event to qualify for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, with AK exuding confidence that with the selected team, despite little training time.
According to Athletics Kenya executive member Barnaba Korir, some of the athletes selected were those currently in the Babu training camp at Kasarani, accompanied with others outside the camp, and both groups will pitch camp before departure for Poland on the 29th of this month.
We were supposed to have had the trials on the 8th of this month, but it was not possible because of the coronavirus and also the suspension of all sports activities. What we are trying to do now is to select a team using internal mechanisms so that they will also represent Kenya. So those ones who will be selected will continue training here in the bubble, also with the support from the National Olympic Committee and the government. They will train here until they travel. We hope that when they get to Poland, they will also qualify for the Olympics, and that is the aim that we are having here.
However, Kenya will not be represented in the 4x400 meters relays men, as there was no competitive selection as required. In the women's 4x400 meters, Kenya will be represented by Mary Mura, Helen Siomboa, Veronica Mutua, Gladys Musyoki and Joan Cherono, while those set to compete in the 4x400 mixed relays are Elgain Alianya, Sylvia Chisebe, Helen Siomboa, Mary Mura, Emmanuel Korir, Emmanuel Mutua, Stanley Kieti and Aaron Koech. Joseph Boyd has been designated to lead the team as the team manager and will be assisted by Pius Mutisia. Stephen Moneki has been selected as the head coach, deputized by William Murko and George Masharia. Kenya managed only a bronze medal in the 4x400 meters women in the 2019 World Relays in Yokohama, Japan.
And Harambee Starlets head coach David Ouma has named his provisional 30-member squad ahead of the international friendly match against Zambia Copper Queens on the 24th of April. The squad will be captained by veteran player Dorcas Shikobe.
Thika Queens top scorer Mwanalima Adams will lead Harambee Starlets attack.
Mimi kama kocha niliangalia hii ni friendly ambayo inaweza nisaidia zaidi kwa kuwa Zambia wamekuwa hawajai kuwa na break, wameendelea kuwa wakijitayarisha tu zile Olympic qualifiers.
Joining the Thika Queens star is former Kisumu All-Star striker Mercy Airo, who has scored 9 goals for Gospel Women, debutants Faith Mashora of Zitek, and Kenya national women's hockey team captain Jili Okumu. However, former Turkey-based forward Ese Akida, currently with Thika Queens, and Ulinzi Starlets Nedi Atieno are missing from the squad. Sekafa top scorer Gentrix Chikangwa will also miss the friendly, as she's currently writing a Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE exam.
Sisi kama makocha sasa ni jitihada yetu kuensure that during hii break ya wiki mbili wachezaji wetu wako katika level gani. Hii ndio kitu mtihani kubwa sana tutakwenda kupata, na wachezaji wapya wenye tumewaleta katika national team, hii itakuwa ni kama orientation ama kuwaleta karibu kuona wako na ile uwezo ya kuweza kutufikia zile malengo ambazo tuko nazo.
Harambee Starlets are expected to start residential training on April 15. Karanja David for Channel 1 Sport.
Now moving on, Al Ahly concluded their CAF Champions League group stage campaign with a 1-0 home victory over Tanzanian champions Simba. The match, which was beamed live on KBC Channel 1, saw Mohamed Sharif score the lone goal to ensure a quarter-final spot for the Egyptians. Tonight, South African side Kaizer Chiefs will be aiming for a top finish in Group C when they play away to Guinean side Horoya FC.
Here in this final round of matches in
Al Ahly ran out 1-0 winners over Simba SC in a CAF Champions League Group A match at the Al Salam Stadium. The two sides had already qualified for the quarter-finals, with Simba as group winners while Al Ahly accompanying them as runners-up. The Egyptians were determined to average 1-0 defeat to Simba in the reverse fixture, which was played in Tanzania 2 months ago. The Red Devils dominated the match from the start, and they managed to break the deadlock 2 minutes after the half-hour mark through Mohamed Sharif. The 25-year-old attacker's header was saved by Simba goalkeeper Aishi Manula, but he fired home from the rebound to hand Al Ahly a well-deserved 1-0 lead.
Whipped in nicely, and surely it's the opener. Yes, it is. Sharif, he's looked so dangerous in this match. And that's the opener, and you've got to say it was coming.
The visitors did threaten in the second half, with former Gor Mahia striker Madika Gere and Zambian international Clotus Chama forcing Al Ahly captain and goalkeeper Mohamed El Shanawi into fine saves. The match, which was beamed live in KBC Channel 1, saw the Tanzania's club CAS in Egypt maintained with first with just 2 draws and 22 defeats in 24 visits. Meanwhile, Kaizer Chiefs, also of Africa, are in Guinea, where they take on Horoya FC in a CAF Champions League Group C match. Participating in their first ever group campaign, Chiefs could record history in this competition by reaching the quarterfinals if they at least manage a second draw against the Guineans. Today's encounter will be their final game in Group C, and they are currently third in 8 points, the same as Horoya, who are in second spot. The match will be live on KBC Channel 1 from 10 p.m.
The ball is whipped in, and how on earth has that missed everyone? The keeper missed it, the defenders missed it, Pascal getting a dressing down from the goalkeeper, but the referee brings the game to a close, and it's
All right, so it's Horoya FC against the Kaizer Chiefs tonight at 10. That action, you will catch it live right here on KBC Channel 1, so don't even think about changing this channel. Of course, we still have more for you, and moving on, Manchester City failed to capitalize on the numbers advantage as they suffered a shocking 2-1 home to a 10-man Leeds United. Stuart Dallas gave Marcelo Bielsa's men the lead dip in the first half before Liam Cooper received his matching orders 4 minutes later. Ferran Torres netted the equalizing goal for City in the 76th minute before Dallas bagged his second goal of the game to earn Leeds the 3 precious points. Despite the results, City remain 14 points clear at the summit of the Premier League. At Anfield, Liverpool defeated Aston Villa 2-1.
Da Costa. That is a marvellously crisp hit from Stuart Dallas for Leeds United. Their first threat, a kiss.
And that is how we wrap it up right here on KBC Channel 1 Weekend. Remember that action, Kaizer Chiefs against Horoya FC at 10 right here, so don't go too far. My time is up. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. My name is Serfine Achieng'Ouma. Have a lovely night.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchoma Odem. Tonight, most parts of the country are experiencing scattered wet conditions, save for the coastal strip and southeastern lowlands, where there are partly cloudy conditions over most areas. And tomorrow, it will mainly be sunny over several places in the capital, as much as the capital, Meru and Nyeri will experience cloudy weather conditions during the early morning hours, and that will also be characterized with light rains. These will later on give way to sunny intervals, but at the coastal strip, there will be scattered wet conditions which will affect Malindi and Mombasa. The Lake Basin region will mainly be sunny, and a few areas in Kisumu, Kakamega, Busia, Nyamira, and Kisii will experience scattered wet conditions over the northern parts of the country. There will be scattered wet conditions which will also affect Turkana and Mandera areas. And in the afternoon, we'll see an increase of wet conditions over the western parts of the country. These will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms, which will largely affect Kisumu, Kakamega, Bungoma, Kisii, and also over the northwestern parts of the country around Turkana. The northeastern will also experience scattered wet conditions and the coastal strip. For you in the capital, Meru, Nyeri, Machakos, Kitui, carry your umbrellas as you leave the house. There'll be showers over several places during the afternoon hours. And let's cross over to temperatures. This is it for you Sunday. The highest across the country will be experienced over the northern parts of the country in Lodwar and Mandera at 37 degrees Celsius. Residents in the capital tonight are experiencing highs of 16 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Rain or shine, have a blessed day ahead.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution. Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Kipindi ni neno la neema, ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu. Usikose.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
As many as 50,000 runaway slaves called Maroons, an indigenous term, settled here on small rises of land known as Mesic Islands.
Chris Murray manages the Swamp's National Wildlife Refuge in Suffolk, Virginia.
When mercenaries came to your home and you were involved in several near-death experiences, take us back to that moment. How did you feel?
I wanted to die. I wanted to commit suicide. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was so bad that, I wanted to die, but I was afraid to kill myself. I was afraid to do it, so I would do things to other people, expecting them to kill me.
Next on.
They're together, Dad, and you can tell they were love.
What they did was, they deceived us, but the thing is, their involvement is now evident.
And that's just like yours with Salvador, because the whole Montesinos family already knows. I had really asked Lucrecia for her help to prevent you from going to jail. But then, she had you imprisoned.
You're mistaken, Martin. Eloisa and I can no longer live in the same house. So either she leaves, or I go.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Yes, Leon. Wajua, furaha tunayo kweli, lakini mimi nasikia kuna vitu vinazunguka humu kichwani mwangu.
Sisi unajua sielewi, manake last time tukiwa hapa tuliambiwa kuwa leo alikuwa haiko na jamaa mwingine na sisi tunakuwa naye. So what is the way forward?
Mimi nitamwambia gavana live ya kwamba bwana gavana, mimi naelewa ugomvi uliokuwepo katikati yako na marehemu baba. Bwana Yesu apewe sifa. Majina yangu ni Francis Maabi, askofu wa kanisa la Evangelical Gospel Ministry, nikiwa Nairobi Kibera, sehemu za Uduku. Nataka kuletea imiso, ama nimekuletea imiso kwa wakati huu ambaye mawazo yako yamekosa msimamo. Moyo wako umejaa mawazo, ndoa yako iko katika challenges. Neno kichwa chake ni nguvu katika neno, ama nguvu za neno. Kitabu ni Isaya 55 verses 10 to 11. Inasema, maana kama vile mvua ishukavyo na theluji kutoka mbinguni, wala hairudi huko, bali huinyesha ardhi na kuichipuza, ikampa mtu apandaye mbegu na mtu alaye chakula. Bwana Yesu apewe sifa. Andiko la 10 la mstari wa 10 imesema kwamba neno la Mungu lina nguvu na linalinganishwa na mvua unaponyesha. Inanyesha na hata inachipuza vitu vilivyoweza kuwa chini ya ardhi. Zinachipuka ndivyo uweze kujua kwamba sura ya namna hii ni ya mmea fulani na hii ni ya mmea fulani. Na neno la Mungu linalinganishwa na maji, kwa uwezo ya maji kuchipua vitu vilivyoweza kuwa katika mchangani na kumea. Verse 21 inasema, ndivyo itakavyokuwa neno langu litokalo katika kinywa changu, halitanirudia bure, bali litatimiza mapenzi yangu, nalo litafanikiwa katika mambo yale niliyolituma. Bwana Yesu na apewe sifa. Nacha kwako mpendwa msikilizaji, ya kwamba wakati neno la Mungu linapita, watu wengi tumereject maneno ya dunia hii. Na nataka nikwambie, ukisha reject, basi ya Mungu usiya reject. Neno la Mungu lina mamlaka. Watu wanaweza nunua news